A primeira música da capoeira foi essa. Fui criança e estou crescido. Fui criança e estou crescido. Aprendi, estou aprendendo.
This is Salvador, Brazil, located in the northeastern state of Bahia. It was founded in 1549 by Portuguese colonists and is one of the oldest colonial cities in the Americas. Salvador was the first slave port in the Americas, and millions of people from Africa were taken there as slaves to work in homes, plantations, and gold mines. Because of the abundance of African-descended people, Salvador and the state of Bahia are the center of Brazil's Afro-Brazilian culture. Many of the people from Africa that were taken to Brazil were from the present-day nation of Angola. I went to Brazil to learn about the Afro-Brazilian art form capoeira Angola. It is a type of martial art that uses dance and fight movements and is performed by two people within a roda, which means circle. Capoeira Angola was developed in Brazil from a combination of cultural traditions from people of Angola and the Congo who were brought to Brazil as slaves. The performance of capoeira is accompanied by a small orchestra of instruments. The primary instrument is the berimbau, which is a musical bow instrument that originates from Angola. The rhythms played on the berimbau are called toques. Certain toques are used to imitate aspects of nature and the environment. This toque, called Una, is meant to imitate the call and response of the horned screamer, a bird native to Brazil. This toque, called cavalaria, was created during the time when the practice of capoeira was illegal in Brazil. Its rhythm imitates the sound of Brazilian police patrolling the streets on their galloping horses. It was played to warn other capoeiristas of the approaching police cavalry. The origin of the berimbau can be traced to the San people, who inhabited various areas of southern Africa, including the Kalahari Desert in Botswana. The 1971 documentary Bitter Melons features a blind San musician named Ukshone, who plays the musical bow and composes music about daily life and his environment. The San also play music that imitates the movements of animals.
Dwigwe play music and rhythmic games about animals. Unlike Ukhone's compositions, animal music is traditional. Some of the songs are played in the bow, like Giraffe.
San are also shown doing the ostrich courting dance, which features movements that are similar to capoeira and follows a mixed meter pulse of 6/8. Through years of migration, the San would eventually move into southern Angola, where they would encounter darker complected Bantu people. Through this contact, the Bantu people would inherit the use of the musical bow. The 2013 documentary Jogo de Corpo features the Umwila people of southern Angola, who play a musical bow with a gourd resonator, exactly like the berimbau. The ancestors of these groups of people in Angola would have been taken to Brazil as slaves. Several other rhythms played by the San and the Umwila are in complex meters with time signatures of 5/4 and 7/4. Across from Salvador, on the other side of the Bay of All Saints, is Itaparica Island. Over 90% of the island's population is descended from Africans and the indigenous Tupi-Guarani people. The majority of the people on the island live in poverty. The island contains several quilombos. These are communities that were formed by fugitive slaves and are still inhabited today. The word quilombo comes from the native Angolan language, Kimbundu. I went to Itaparica to learn about the history of capoeira from a capoeira master named Haiteldo Berimbau, who lives in Quilombo Tereré. He runs his own association of art and culture, where he teaches the youth in the community how to practice African-rooted art forms like capoeira and makulele, and play the musical instruments associated with them. He does all of this free of charge to his students.
Então, meu nome é Matheus Conceição das Neves, mais como conhecido no mundo artístico como Reitel do Birimbau.
My name is Anatelson Conceição das Neves, best known as the artist Reitel do Berimbau. I started practicing the art of capoeira in 1988, and I've been practicing capoeira for 29 years.
E nessa comunidade chamada, nesse bairro chamado Ilhota, e nessa comunidade chamada Tereré. Tereré é o nome.
I was born on the island of Itaparica in Veracruz, in a quilombo called Tereré. Tereré is a Tupi-Guarani word that means fusion of herbs.
Deu origem à comunidade, onde hoje é a comunidade tradicional quilombola. Os terreiros.
Within this community today, we find capoeira and candomblé terreiros. It was here that the Tupi lived, the first inhabitants of this island and Brazil. However, this place also became a quilombo, where fugitive slaves would take refuge and use agriculture as a means of survival.
A puxada de rede e o maculelê. Então toda essa diversidade.
Today I am happy to live in this community, where I learn to play soccer, capoeira, samba de roda, and maculelê.
Uns que vieram da Guerra dos Canudos e morreu com 116 anos minha avó.
In this community, we find a source of energy, because here is the true quilombo, where we step on clay and earth, breathe better air, and feed on what we plant in the earth.
Então isso tudo é fonte de nosso antepassado, do povo que plantou e viveu aqui.
All of this is inherited from our ancestors, from the people who planted and lived here. Here we find and produce the material needed to make the berimbau, the beriba wood, and the gourd. Here we learn how to make the instrument, tune it, and conduct the roda de capoeira.
Todo esse material, então a gente produz aqui na próprio quilombo. E aqui a importância de tivesse.
Reitel sat down with Rubens and I to demonstrate some of the instruments played in Capoeira Angola and also explain the history of the art form.
Outra estrutura, né? Então, berimbau, esse aqui é o berimbau médio. Ele toca instrumento grande de Angola, instrumento pequeno de Angola. De bode. Ele toca 1, 2, 3, é uma marcação. Não o cachuchi, então ele toca igual a gogô. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Que toca 1, 2, 3, 4. Então ele toca 1, 2, 3, como ele toca 1, 2, 3, 4. Então é o instrumento mais baixo que tem na capoeira Angola, no Brasil. E vieram de vários continentes, né? Africano, Moçambique, Angola e outros. E esses próprios capoeiristas Angola, os angolanos.
The Africans who were brought to Brazil to be enslaved came from various parts of Africa, including Mozambique and Angola. But the people of Angola were primarily taken to the region of Bahia to work on sugarcane, coffee, and tobacco plantations.
Fugir para mata chamada capoeira, um lugar que tinha uma mata rala, mato bem rasteiro, e aí ele começou.
They went into the woods to practice a fighting style that had no name at the time. This was essentially the first capoeira.
E rolo. Ele viu os índios também lutando, se agarrando, eles também criou a forma.
This fight was more like capoeira Angola because the movements were executed near the ground, as we do in Capoeira Angola today.
E o próprio
The
movimento
name Capoeira de Angola
como os
emerged because it was associated with the
Como os
Angolans.
animais se comportavam, eles olhavam e começavam a praticar com o outro. E aí dentro disso percebeu que
The Angolans copied movements of animals and nature, such as the flexibility of bamboo. They also observed the movements of the indigenous Tupi people. From these elements, they were able to create capoeira.
Então, a capoeira, os negros da capoeira, quer dizer, o negro que correram para a capoeira, ele se tornou um negro perigoso.
They also added movements from the samba de batuque, a fight where two fighters kicked each other's knees and legs in an attempt to destabilize the other. The one who was still standing continued in the circle, and the one who fell moved to the outside.
Capoeira vieram para cá e dentro de uma luta, dentro do mato, eles criaram jogo.
When the overseers, slave masters, and landowners realized that these fighting styles were dangerous and can be used against them, the slaves began to camouflage the fight as a dance.
Dentro dessa arte ele começou a criar essa flexibilidade.
They would practice games called Game of the Leg, Game of the Head, and Game of the Hand, and thus would arise the dance-like movements of capoeira. However, this dance fight could kill because the kicks were dangerous. More and more slaves joined the practice of capoeira as the art form spread to urban areas. With the abolition of slavery in 1888 and the subsequent discovery of gold, the blacks were freed, but they had nowhere to go and had no education because they were enslaved.
O defensor ou foi o protetor da perícia jogando era morto ou era preso.
The blacks were also able to use capoeira as a form of combat, so the practice of capoeira became illegal and was punishable by the police cavalry. Capoeira was considered a crime until 1931, and at that time capoeira had already spread all over Brazil, especially to the south in Rio de Janeiro and Minas Gerais, where there were more blacks working on plantations of sugarcane, coffee, tobacco, cotton, and soybeans.
E aí a capoeira ganhou também esse medo, essa coisa de que a capoeira é crime.
During this time, President Getúlio Vargas used capoeiristas in his electoral campaign because they represented a large number of votes. He also sought to establish capoeira as a national Brazilian sport while distancing it from its African roots. In 1931, capoeira ceased being a crime and was considered a sport. The first school for capoeira Angola was opened in 1941 here in Salvador by Maestri Pastinha in the Pelourinho. Today, capoeira has about 8 million practitioners of both the Angola and regional styles across 160 countries. Before our departure from the island, the people of Quilombo Terere showed us the beauty of the movements of capoeira Angola. There in the Quilombo is where the true capoeira Angola is played.
sul, leste, oeste, norte, sul, leste, oeste, falei norte, sul, falei leste, oeste, eu 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 falei norte, sul, falei leste, oeste. Yeah.